We should be live. So, all right. Yeah, we're in it. We're in it. Happy, yo, honestly, you know what? This is our first Dollar Growth Club meeting of the year, of the new year. And I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about this year though. Can I just say that before we get into anything else? Like I really am excited about the year. I feel like last year was a setup for this year to be really excellent and really phenomenal. And I'm just like beyond excited for what's to come. So I just want to put that out there before we get into the talk. But
Absolutely.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. It's definitely going to be a great year, right? Some people will be growing this year. Some people will be living in the growth from, you know, what they planted last year, the seeds they planted last year, even a year before that. But it is going to be a great year. I claimed it already.
Yeah, I claim it too.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Well, we're going to kick off this year talking about some health benefits that nature has blessed us with, right? So we are talking, I know we mentioned it last week. We talked about mushrooms, and Zip said that she wasn't really a fan of mushrooms. And I, before, was not a fan of mushrooms until I learned all of this stuff that we're going to talk about today, like the health benefits of mushrooms, right? So yes, they come from the ground. They're a fungi. The part that we eat is like the fruity part of it, I guess. To me, they don't really have a taste. I think that I really don't. To me, they don't really have a taste. Some people say they take on the flavor of whatever you're cooking it with, but to me, they really don't have a taste. They do have a texture that some people, don't like. But when you realize all of the benefits, I mean, to me, it's worth it. And we're going to talk about some of them, right? So without further ado, we're going to get into it. So mushrooms provide, okay, maybe I should ask a question first. Where do we get the mushrooms that we eat? Right? So, they grow in nature.
From the forest.
Well, they have like farms that harvest mushrooms that we can eat, because there are mushrooms that are beneficial to us, and then there are mushrooms that are poisonous to us. And you have to be very attentive to detail and know what you're doing when hi baby.
Hey Junior.
Hi baby. You like
we can't have like babies in the room, because that everything's gonna be about stealing the show.
I love it. But yes, so when you're picking mushrooms, right? How do you know which one is poisonous and which one is beneficial? There's markings, but like some of these markings are so minute that you have to like study mushrooms to know. So to avoid people going out into nature just picking mushrooms, not knowing if this one is going to give me vitamin D or is this one going to put me into the dirt, they have like farms that harvest these ones that have been shown not poisonous to us. Okay, so that's where we get them. They have these farms, and actually China, believe it or not, is one of the biggest countries that has these mushroom farms. I thought America.
I believe it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I thought it would be in the United States, but I was corrected that it's actually China. And Poland actually is a really big exporter of mushrooms. Poland of all.
Oh, okay. Well, that one surprises me a little. Yeah.
But yeah, so in order to reduce the risk of people just picking mushrooms and saying, oh, well, I want mushrooms on my salad today, let me go out and get a fungus and, chop it up. They say just go with what's in the grocery stores, because those ones have been grown on a farm and they're not shown to be deadly like some of the other ones, or have those effects of the other ones, right? So yes. Oh my God.
The babies today.
Yes, I see you.
Y'all ever see those mushrooms that grow in weird places and you just be like, ew, a mushroom. I don't know. It's just growing. Like in my old apartment in Illinois, there was like some mushrooms growing out the wall. I'm like, what is
Well, mushrooms grow everywhere. There's mushrooms that can grow inside of your body too, right? So it's like there's so many different like mushroom. Yeah, I'm excited about this conversation. Is interesting because I watched what is it called? What was that documentary called? Fantastic Fungi. I don't have to Google it, so I make sure I get the title correct, but it was Fantastic Fungi or Amazing Fungi. What was it? And there was Fantastic Fungi, right? So it was a documentary. You can watch it on Netflix actually, and it came out in 2019. But I watched this, and there's so much information about mushrooms. They really are these like magical, no pun intended, right? The magic mushroom, but they are really this like magical sort of species of fungi. So yeah. But no, I get what you're saying though, right? Like they're in the cracks of the walls. You're like, why are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you come from?
You're not gonna pick those. You're not gonna harvest those though and eat them for dinner. So
I mean, unless somebody that's versed in them can tell you, okay, yeah, these ones aren't that harmful.
I don't care if I see mushrooms growing in my walls, I'm not eating them. No matter who's telling me what is not happening.
You like, what soil did you come from?
Yeah.
What soil? But so mushrooms actually, there's a lot of health benefits, right? And so one of them is protein from mushrooms, right? And so if you think of another source of proteins that we get, in our diet, because proteins are a macronutrient that we all need in our bodies. A lot of times we talk about the animal-based protein products, but the trade-off or a benefit of substituting the animal-based products with mushrooms is that you get less fat, right? There's no saturated fat in it. There is no cholesterol in it. So that's like a benefit of choosing mushrooms as your source of protein versus the animal fats. And I know we talked a little bit about the meat substitutes last week, so we won't go back into that. But 3.5 ounces of mushrooms provides roughly 3 grams of protein to your body. So it's a new year. So I think but it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great year.
Something must have happened.
Yes. Well, basically, we have an almost 2-year-old who is ready to potty train himself, right? And so he's just doing what he wants. That's what's
it's
going on.
Be a great year. It's going to be a great year.
It is a great year.
It is a great year already.
But yeah,
and it's great. And he's potty training. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yes. That's a beautiful thing. But yes, that's what's going on right now, right? So,
as I said, I was like, it's something happening.
And he's like so proud of himself. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Look. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, son.
Wow.
You gotta give him a hand clap. Give him a
I just say wow. Just look at him and say wow. Wow, amazing. Wow.
Yeah, shout out to all the toddlers potty training, just trying to get their parents to be proud.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so 3 grams of protein for every 3.5 ounces of cooked mushrooms, right? And another thing, well, that's about 6% of our daily recommended intake of protein. And if you don't know what our daily recommended intake of protein is, that is in our club. And so if you want access to resources like that, you need to get in the Dollar Growth Club. So I'm just going to put that there, right? So
there we go.
You want to know, there's a whole wealth of information and resources that are available to all of the members within the community. So if you need to, want to reference that, there's articles on that. There's assignments on that. So get into the club. There's a whole bunch of amazing stuff that anyone and everyone can use. So
amen, 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 amen to that.
You don't know, now you know. But
you know.
So in addition to protein, let's see, there were so many things that I found. So mushrooms also provide us with fiber, right? So we need fiber. Fiber increases the fullness in our body, right? Helps with the absorption of some vitamins, right? So every 1 cup of mushrooms. So, okay, when we say the amounts required, these are either cooked or raw. So this is for raw mushrooms, because when it's cooked down, it
when you put in your salad.
Yes. So for every 1 cup of raw mushrooms provides 2 grams of fiber to your day, right? And so we know that fiber is good for your digestive health. I don't want to get too much into that, but yeah, and it also
it keeps you regular, is what you're trying to say.
Yes,
it keeps you regular.
And
those of you who little constipated sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why they say put a little fiber, because it puts bulkness into the stool.
Yeah, see, you don't need your Metamucil,
You don't. Just a little bit of mushrooms. That's all you need. Just a little bit of mushrooms, right? But in addition to that, so the fiber component of it actually helps to regulate your blood sugar, right? So that's a benefit. And so patients that have diabetes, it's okay, for them to consume mushrooms as long as there's no other contraindications, but I can't think of off the top of my head any medicines that directly counteract or interact with mushrooms. But again, if you don't know, just consult your primary care provider who can give you medical advice on that. So mushrooms help with that. Another thing, now this is going to take a little bit of time. So mushrooms have a lot of vitamins and minerals in them. And so one really big one in mushrooms is vitamin B. We had a whole talk about vitamin B in all the different forms, the B2, the B6, the B9, the B12, B17, all of the B vitamins. But mushrooms specifically have niacin and riboflavin. Those two, I mean, there's a couple other ones depending on the species of mushrooms that you consume. But we know that vitamin B is good for, so if we know that vitamin B is in, let's say, energy drinks, what is one benefit of vitamin B? It's energy, right?
Energy.
Yes. So energy, it's also good for nerve function.
Captain Obvious. Energy.
Energy. Right. So vitamin Bs are really good for energy, nerve function, metabolism of certain fats and proteins. So we need vitamin B. So you'll get niacin and you'll get riboflavin when you consume mushrooms, right? Certain types of mushrooms. And then vitamin D, as in dog or David, right? So vitamin D is good for your bone. It helps with the calcium absorption, right? So vitamin D is essential to all of us. Now, the vitamin D is not like naturally when you take a mushroom, it has that vitamin D in it. No, the vitamin D that you get comes post-harvesting. So once they've harvested the mushroom, it depends on the amount of ultraviolet exposure that the mushroom has will determine how much vitamin D is within that mushroom. So you would think like, okay, well, it takes them this long, X amount of days or weeks to come up. And once they're harvested, then they contain this much vitamin D, but it's not. It's post-harvesting exposure to UV that determines how much vitamin D you're going to get. So you will get variations depending on who's harvesting them and how long they've been exposed to the UV light. And then the mushrooms themselves do have a chemical called ergosterol. So if you know vitamin Ds, right, our body can take in 2 different vitamin Ds. You have cholecalciferol, which is vitamin D3, and then you have ergocalciferol, which is vitamin D2. So the ergosterol gives us ergocalciferol, which is D2. So they're just different forms of vitamin D that our body can take in. So when you see supplements on the shelf for vitamin D supplements, you'll see either vitamin D2, which is the ergocalciferol, or you'll see vitamin D3, which is the cholecalciferol. So
gotcha. And in layman's terms, this means what? Like what's the difference between the two vitamin Ds?
It's how it's activated with, okay. It's just how it is activated within your body. You get benefits from both. It's just one has to go through another conversion step when you consume it versus, and the other one is already ready. You don't.
Gotcha. But both of them provide the same benefits.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's just a conversion.
Okay, got it. And I see you like in your head, you're like, wait, hold up. I don't want to make this too complicated.
I'm like, it's just an extra step. One has to go through one extra step to be, usable within the body. That's all. Gotcha. But they break down to the same. So that's where you'll get a good source of vitamin D is in your mushrooms. But again, it does depend on when it was harvested and how much exposure to the UV light that particular batch of mushrooms has received. And so depending on the resources you look at, some say that you'll get only about, okay, so vitamin D is measured in international units. So IUs, like that's just the measurement of them. Some sources say that you only get about 3%, which is like less than 10 international units per serving of mushrooms. But then other sources say if one serving can give you up to 45% of your daily intake or recommendation for vitamin D. So again, it does depend on when it was harvested and how much UV exposure. So there is a lot of variation, and it depends whether it's brown raw mushrooms versus the white mushrooms. So that also makes a difference in
what type is the healthiest? Like which type of mushroom should, if people were like, hey, I want to try some mushrooms for their health benefits. Is there a recommendation? Okay.
I will get back to you on that, because when you say your health benefits, some of them provide more of one mineral versus the other. So like one might have more vitamin D, one might have more iron, one might, so I'll look into that and I will let you know, depending on which nutrient or which element that you're trying to increase, you would go with this species versus this species. But I'll get back to you. We'll talk about that. Actually, we can talk about that next week when we talk about the psychedelic mushrooms, magic mushrooms.
What everybody is waiting to hear about.
Yeah, I mean, and that actually be a healthy conversation, not really a debate, but conversation about the use of them, right?
I was literally just talking to somebody about this, someone who studies like natural plant medicine and psychedelics, and we were just having this conversation. But yeah, I'll see if I can get them to like come on, and
that'll be fun.
Join that, yeah.
Or we may have to schedule it at a time that works for that person if they are able to attend, because that would be good to have their expertise and their insight on that field, because it's something that they study. And then we can have a healthy conversation. I will just say that I am for it 100%. But
let's go, Dr. Ness. Jesus, I am for it. Let me be clear.
I am for it. Yeah, that's what I'll say. I'll just say I am for it, right?
Yeah,
nature gave it to us for a reason, right? It wasn't created, manipulated in any form and then given to the masses. If it's something the earth gave us, there was a reason for it.
And that was the thing. We're not going to get into it right now, but it was like with those types of mushrooms.
Yes,
it is as it was in nature, right? And so you don't have to manipulate it. And so there's kind of like, I forget the term that they gave, but it was like, basically this was like God, it's a God's gift, it's just like, it's here for you as it is, to make you happier. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, it's nature's like healing superpower. So yeah.
Mushrooms are amazing. Mushrooms are really amazing in so many ways.
So like another mineral you'll get is zinc, and zinc is for, it helps with metabolism. It's what they call like an immunity mineral, like just overall.
Oh, I pop zinc every time.
You do?
Every time that somebody around me has a cold. Oh, yes, indeed. I'm like, give me that zinc. My go-tos, I'm like, give me some zinc, give me some vitamin C.
Yes.
I'm like, give me my echinacea.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, I've got like my go-tos. I'm like, give me some elderberry. You know, there's
Yes.
like a certain thing, little regiment that I go to. I'm like, give me some ginger, some garlic, chew on some garlic. But there's so many of those remedies, and it works, and it work. But yeah, so zinc too.
Yes. And you know what? Those remedies, I will say, they are a good boost for us if we are able to incorporate them on a more regular, consistent basis. We don't always need that boost. Sometimes we do, but like if we make it, incorporate that into our regular intake, then our body already is like, oh yeah, little bug. Don't worry about that. I got that. But yeah, so zinc. So you get zinc and also potassium. Not a significant amount of potassium. Yeah, it's not
like bananas.
And I like bananas, but not like bananas. But yeah, so you'll get potassium. And they're also a really good source of antioxidants. So antioxidants help your body with cell damage. They help with cell repair, because like if you have like what they call free radical species within your body, they can do damage to your cells. And so antioxidants basically fight that off. I think I wrote that. And so they help with inflammation or protect against inflammation, and a lot of other illnesses, right? And so, I don't even want to get into that. I was going to get into the free radicals and a really common dis-ease state that has been attributed to free radicals, but we'll save that for another day, perhaps.
Oh my gosh, you don't even want to give us a hint?
No.
The people I want to know. Okay, you want to just text me after?
Okay, so let me just say, there are many theories out there for a lot of dis-ease states, right? One very common one that has been on the increase as of the last maybe 10, 15 years. One theory is that it is caused by free radicals within our body. A very, very common dis-ease state.
I feel like I'm playing trivia right now. Like you like, it looks like this, sounds like that, because you ain't gonna say what it is. I get it. We want to be responsible. Is that what it is? I understand.
Yeah. Well, these are just theories, right? They're not necessarily my thoughts alone. These are theories. These are things that people have published, in journals, have done a little bit of research on, and have come to a conclusion that this particular, there's a couple of them, but this one particular dis-ease state, comes from free radicals in our bodies just destroying cells. And so just think about this. You're gonna get to it. When a free radical is destroying a cell, right? The body's natural defense mechanism is to repair that cell, to regrow that cell, right? And so say it keeps on doing that. Now you have an overgrowth of that.
No, I think I know what you're talking about, but I'm not going to say anything if you don't want to say anything.
We'll talk about it. I just feel like we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it on another day. But yeah.
Okay.
So a good benefit of mushrooms is that they have antioxidant properties, which combat these free radicals in your body, and they help prevent the possible cell damage from these free radicals. And then, that is partly because of a substance or mineral called selenium. Selenium has the antioxidant properties. Let me see if I wrote anything else about it, but yeah. Actually, do you know what dis-ease state I was referring to?
Does it begin with a C?
It does.
Okay, then.
That's what you were thinking?
Yes.
Yes. When you think about it, the way of thinking is, if I have a species in my body that is destroying my cells, right? Because it's a free radical. It's binding to something, tearing this down, messing with this DNA. My body is going to say, oh no, I gotta repair you, and I gotta make more, because every time I make one, it destroys one. So now I gotta make two. Every time I make two, it destroys two, right? And so now you get an overgrowth
right
of that particular cell or cells. And so that's why there are quite a few people that theorize that dis-ease state comes from free radicals. Some people say it comes from inflammation. Some people say it comes from excess sugar that we intake. There's a lot of theories out there, and many of them make sense. I believe that there's not just one reason for it. I believe they're all contributing factors that play on why this dis-ease state happens, or why this condition occurs in people, and why it's on the rise in people.
Yeah, because it wasn't always that way. But I think that, the good thing is that the more that we start educating ourselves and others about things that we can control, like the preventative medicines, the plant medicines, the physical activity and lifestyle medicines, right? That can help us to live long, healthy, happy lives, and have this longevity of life that we can enjoy, where we're not in these stages of disease or chronic disease, right? And can just feel good about what we're able to do and how we feel even as we are aging.
Right.
And I think that's really important, because we don't necessarily, sometimes I feel like we have a fatalistic thought around what our destiny is, right? Like, I'm destined to have this issue and that issue and this one. But it's like, no, you don't necessarily need to just ascribe to the fact just because your mama had this or your grandma had this, that you have to be the next one in line for it. It's like you can have a predisposition, but still do things lifestyle factor wise, including what you're eating.
Right.
And a host of other things, like you said, is normally a system of actions and, that determine, the actual product of all of that. Right. So it's, it's like just reminding the folks. And again, as we talk about these things, right, it serves as a reminder for ourselves, right? Some new education for ourselves as we're teaching other people, right? And as we're going through this in the group, and as we're doing these homework and assignments and have all of these things happening, we're conditioning our minds to think about what we're able to control in our lives a little bit differently, because those kind of situations where they're life-threatening, are that can, like you said, be prevented to some degree, or at least be combated with food, right? With food, it's a radical idea, but it's an idea that has proven successful for certain people. And so we have to use that as like a power that we have. We don't always have to go and pop a pill. And I appreciate you having a pharmacy background saying that, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times people think like, big pharma, all the stereotypes around pharmacists, but
I know.
we love you and appreciate you for, for being able to say like, nah, you don't always have to pop a pill. Like I've never met a doctor, I don't think, or a pharmacist that was like, so like, nah, you don't have to get up, like eat more of this or take some of this and understand more of this. So, I really appreciate the conversation and your perspective on all of that, because, we value it. And I think, right? I mean,
Thank you.
You know how they say slinging the legal drugs.
I'm telling you, that's what we do. But I will say that a lot of times when you look at these chronic dis-ease states and conditions, we have guidelines that we follow, right? Or a lot of, prescribers, providers, there's guidelines, there's organizations. A lot of times the number one step when you're trying to treat these conditions is lifestyle modifications. But what happens is people overlook step one And they say, we're going straight to step number 2, which is you need to take a statin, you need to take a this, you know what I mean? Depending on the condition that you're trying to treat. And it's like, wait a minute, let's look at these guidelines and let's see what they're saying. So these guidelines, you know, they're created by organizations based on research. Also have to remember or be mindful that this research is not always 100% unbiased, because there's people that need to fund these studies. And if they're pumping money into these studies, it serves them to say that based on this data, this product, which we are offering, is beneficial to X, Y, and Z. So not all of them are unbiased, or I don't think there's a way for them to be 100% unbiased, because these studies need to be funded, and the funding comes from these companies that have the money to fund them. And so you just have to be mindful of that. But even with all of that, if you look at the guidelines and you follow the flow chart, the very first step is usually lifestyle modifications. And that's my area of expertise. There it is. There it is, right? It encompasses all dimensions of wellness, right? All of that, because if you don't have your spiritual in line, you're not going to be able, you may have difficulty getting all of your other dimensions in line, right? And if your financial wellness is not in line, then it's going to be more difficult for you to make the decisions that are going to enable you to make better choices. Absolutely. Right. So they're all connected. They're all connected. You can't have one without the other, and you can't just focus on just one. The goal is to focus on all 8 dimensions, you know, at the same time. In some areas of our life, you might need a little bit more attention to this area, but that doesn't mean you neglect the other areas or the other dimensions. They're always working for our benefit, as long as we work, right? As long as we are consciously working on that. And when you consciously work on it enough, it becomes habit. So your subconscious takes over, and now you're learning other things. And it's not painful anymore to go through the change. And you're in a better health state 9 times out of 10 if you're doing something that's positive for your health, and your well-being and your wellness. And so it's, you know, it's a win all around. Yes. So mushrooms. Oh, wow. So yeah, there's so many benefits to it. This is admittedly, right, one of the types of foods that I do like. I eat mushrooms, but I know, like, for me, there's more questions than answers, right? Like there's more questions than answers. And I think you had stepped away, and I was telling Zip that I was watching the Fantastic Fungi documentary, and I've watched a couple of documentaries on mushrooms, right? Yep. And a lot of these documentaries are focused on psychedelics, but then there's some that are like, you know, focused on all types of mushrooms, and you know, and it's just so amazing because I think they have like the most species, like there's so many species of mushroom fungi. Like it's really incredible. It's like a lot to wrap your head around, you know, but thank you for the conversation today. I think we're given to us as a gift. That's what I'll say about that. Because you already know my stance. I'm all for it, right? Before I wasn't, because I will say, honestly, I didn't have a palate for them because growing up, my parents never cooked with them. Right. So it wasn't until I was an adult that we were out somewhere and somebody was like, oh, I want sauteed mushrooms as an appetizer. And I'm looking, you know, she wasn't of our hue. And so I'm looking at her and I'm like, sauteed mushrooms? You like, that is like, not for Black people. Yeah, she's like, they're so delicious. You have to try them. And when they came to the table, I was looking at them and she's like, try them. And I'm like, And at the time, I'm saying this in my head, and I'm really having it's funny to me. Yeah, I wasn't used to it, but she was like, they're so delicious. And so I took a fork, I grabbed one, put it on my little plate. I took a little bite of it and I was like, Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I don't.
So I would make, I used to make like fried mushrooms. So you like can toss them in some flour.
Yep.
And put them on the stove like that, bake them, breaded mushrooms. You can just saute them without any of that extra, fat on it. You can, eat them in your salad raw. You don't have to cook them. There's so many different ways. I'm interested to see how people eat their mushrooms.
That's what our assignment is going to be.
Oh, oops. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
now.
I mean, I'm gonna put it up because I don't know how many people do eat them, but I'm gonna ask that people put in a recipe that they use their mushrooms in, or that, a recipe that they've used mushrooms in. And if they haven't, look up a food recipe, like think of a food that you normally eat that you can incorporate mushrooms into that. Right. An easy one is pasta. If people, if you eat pasta, you put it in your
throw
sauce.
some mushrooms in there.
Yeah. Your salad. So that actually is what our assignment is going to be. Like, how do you prepare them? What is the recipe? How, like the full recipe, how much of this, what are the brown mushrooms?
I like putting mushrooms in my pasta sauce.
Yeah.
I told y'all before I had a great vegan mushroom meatloaf, but it's not a, there's none of the fake meats or anything like that. The meat part of it was actually ground mushroom.
I think that's how I would actually try that.
I would have to find that recipe. It's really good. It's really good. And then like sometimes if you get tired of eating so many mushrooms, there's a lot of mushrooms you have to use to put in there. I took it and I made like little mushroom meatballs. Yeah. And then I made meatballs out of it. And it was extra good. Still.
You just repurpose it.
I just got tired of eating the sliced meatloaf, but it never was like because it wasn't good. It was fabulous. Yeah. I'll see if I can find a recipe. If I find a recipe, I'll put it in a group.
Put it in there, please. Yeah, because I would like to see that. Because I need to know how many mushrooms,
It's a whole bunch of mushrooms. I'll tell you that. It's a lot of mushrooms, but you have a whole family, you know what I'm saying, to provide for. So if everybody is down to eat the mushroom meatloaf, they might. Then there you go.
Maybe I'll ask you, can you tell looking at it once it's cooked that it is not like meat? Or no? Like, does it brown?
Not from the outside, I don't think. But the thing is, like, you have to use like a ketchup sauce on the outside.
Yep.
So to me, I can't really say that I could tell a difference. But you're talking to somebody who hasn't eaten meat in like 20 years. So, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't really know if I'm the best person to ask, but to me, all the ground meats, like all of the heavily processed meats and all that stuff, like you can't tell the difference between any of them because they don't look anything like what they looked like coming, you know what I mean? Like in their original state. So to me, it doesn't matter. It's like I ground up some mushrooms and piece them together and put it in there. Everything else is like the same process. And you could do this with vegetarian where you use the egg to bind it, so you can use the egg to bind as well.
Yep.
And it, browns, I feel like it's similar.
Yeah, put my onions in it. Ooh.
Yep. All of that. And then you could make some mushroom gravy. That's the kind of gravy I make. I make the mushroom gravy.
Oh, right.
So you could do that.
Yeah.
Too.
So if you do have that recipe, I look forward to seeing that because that is something that I would actually try.
Okay, I will find it. I will, as soon as we get, I will search high and low. I will look for it. And when I find the one that I had, because I remember what it looked like, find it, I'll go ahead and I'll post it in the group. And if you make it, then let me know how it is.
Yeah,
take pictures, post it.
I appreciate you for doing that. But yeah, absolutely. Yep. I mean, now when I consume mushrooms, if it has mushrooms in it, or I'll ask to put mushrooms on it. But like, I will be honest, I couldn't tell you the last time I bought mushrooms.
Well, you're gonna buy them this week.
I know that's right. I know as soon as I get that recipe. I'm gonna
get on it. Ooh, all right. Well, thank you. So next week we're talking about psychedelics, or whenever we can get the right people in the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, let me know if our guest is able to attend next week. If not, we'll talk about another topic. But I really wanted to, that's something that I think would be a really good topic to discuss.
All right. Yeah, we'll see. You know, people got jobs and things. We'll see how it is. But
I
you
know.
gotta clock in and clock out on the plantation. You know how it is, how it goes.
I do.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can have that conversation next week.
Yes.
Thank you, y'all.
Thank you.
I will
Thank you for
try
showing up.
I will try mushroom.
I encourage you, yes, find a recipe that you like, post the recipe in, or, post your experience with the mushrooms, or, if you end up getting them, what you're thinking when you bought them, what you're thinking when you tried it.
Okay.
Okay. And make sure you flavor it nice, because the seasoning is half of the battle. Because like Ness said, it doesn't really have. I mean, I think that it has a flavor, right? Like, to me, water has no flavor. You see what I'm saying? To me, it has a flavor. Here's the debate. What?
maybe. Okay, I don't know if this sounds
certain
crazy,
waters, they're hard. They got too many minerals in them. They got too much. Then
water
but just
does
clear,
have a taste.
like, but it's the taste of what it was filtered through. You know what I'm saying? It's like. Anyway, mushrooms.
I found out some water. I mean, I wasn't really a big fan of this type of water, but I did a little research on it, and I was like, I cannot believe I drank that water. No wonder why after drinking that water, you feel more thirsty. Like, you don't feel quenched.
Because it's got salt in it or something. It's got sodium in it.
Stuff that they put in it. It's not spring water. Ugh. We can have a topic about water, because let me tell you. Do you drink alkaline water?
I do. I don't like it. I should drink more, because I was just listening to something this lady was saying. Oh no, actually it wasn't. I was not listening to nothing. I'm tripping. I was talking to somebody, actually the same person I was talking about psychedelics with. And they were saying that they went through something where because they were drinking alkaline water, it ended up saving their life, right? Because they could have gone into an acidic state, but they didn't, because they had a habit of drinking a gallon of alkaline water every day. Mm-hmm.
I am a fan.
Alkaline water tastes horrific to me, but that doesn't mean I just don't like the way it tastes. But it doesn't mean I won't drink it. I just don't like how it tastes. That's all.
So,
that's all right.
I don't. Okay, maybe we'll talk about this offline, but what? Yeah, maybe, because we don't want to endorse any brands, right?
Yeah.
Right?
We'll talk about it offline, and you give me a brand that I can try that doesn't taste like pure ass, and we'll be good.
To me, it doesn't. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Yeah.
Everybody's taste buds are different. Just,
You're right.
It's okay.
You're right.
It's okay. But if you have a recommendation that I could take that I can enjoy, I will drink alkaline water all day, because I know that it's the better option.
Yes. Zip, have you ever had alkaline water?
Yeah, I just got done drinking something.
There it is.
And mineral water is good too. So, okay. So this is, write this down. We definitely need to talk about this, but there are, what are they called? Water sommeliers. Mm-hmm. Just like how there are for wine. Mm-hmm. There are people that are experts in water, different types of water, what they do for you. They have tastings, just like you would have a wine tasting, they have a water tasting. So maybe we should put that on the agenda. Find a water sommelier. I think we should take a trip, do it, and then talk about it.
I just looked that up just right when you said it. I was like, get out of town.
Yeah.
And
thing.
when you Google, be mindful the first and the second are not always the best options. Those are usually ones that are paid ads that have been paid to put the information. The less biased information is usually found not on page number 1. That's just a tip when you're searching Google. So that's exactly what I did. Scroll to the bottom, click another number, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yep.
But
2023, new information, new possibilities, new water, mushrooms.
Yes, I like that. New information, new possibilities, new opportunities.
New opportunities. That's it.
I like that.
New opportunities. All right, y'all. Well, listen, enjoy the Monday. Again, thank you so much for leading the conversation, Dr. Coach NESS. Every time I say that, I just be thinking, you know, the Dr. Reverend Bishop, like this.
All many the
titles. You know what I'm saying? All of them, right? All of them. But thank you. It was informative. Absolutely. I took some things away. I will find that recipe and I will post in the group. Remember, for those of you who are not already in the Dollar Growth Club, join. Join. The sale is over, by the way, but yep. Yeah, it is. But
you were not playing. Look at those that capitalized and took advantage. They saw the opportunity and they made that move. And so shout out to them. If you didn't get it.
But I will say this. I kept the annual price on there. So if you pay for the entire year.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then you can get the discount. It's like a 48%.
It's built in.
Discount built in. But that's if you commit for, you know, the full year.
So, I like that incentive, actually.
Yeah.
And because when you think about what the yearly commitment is, you circulate that amount of money on Netflix when you have 2 or 3 accounts. You know what I mean?
I circulated that amount of money on Starbucks within a month. You know? So when you think about our priorities
that Starbucks gave to you in one of your 8 dimensions of wellness, not nearly as much as what the community provides. And that's right. Honesty, right? Like that's just me being honest. And I think of, okay, Starbucks, what are the benefits to my body, my person in any one of these 8 dimensions of wellness? Yes, you might get some, it's a temporary thing, right? But then you have to go back for more to do it again.
That's a good litmus test, though. That's a really good litmus test. Like, do I want to keep this thing in my life? Well, let me check it against the 8 dimensions of wellness and see, like, how is it bettering me? Is it bettering me here? And all you got to do is ask yourself the simple question: is this bettering me in blank dimension of wellness?
Yep.
Yes or no? You write it yes, no. Look down it. Are there more yeses or more nos?
Yeah.
Right.
That's simple.
That is simple. When you put it like that, like sometimes it's like, you know, they say keep it simple, stupid, right? Keep it simple. Just keep it simple, because we don't have to complicate things. We want to complicate things because we're smart humans that want to make everything esoteric, and ain't got to be all that. Very simple. That's why everybody, people who are like super successful, you ever hear people who are really successful, but like, never graduated from high school, or they say like, yo, I failed all my classes, I got fired from all my jobs. And what they say is that, listen, I don't have to be the smartest person. What I am is I'm a hard worker. I'm a hardworking person. And they always have this judgment to say smart people don't get anywhere because they overthink everything. You ever heard that? Smart people don't get places because they don't. And I'm thinking like, okay, as a smart person, I identify as a smart person. And as a smart person, I'm like, okay, let me make sure I'm not falling into that trap, because that's the trap that so many people, especially those who are intellectuals or people who are just thinking through everything, that we're going to stop ourselves because, from doing action, because we got to plan everything. Everything's got to be perfect. Or we got to think like, what if that happens and that don't work, or how? Just stop
Yeah.
and do it. It's very simple. Yes or no. Is it helping you or is it harming you? Is it pushing you closer to where you want to be? Is it pushing you away from it? Do you value your holistic wellness? Because if you do, then you can look at the 8 dimensions and not be like, oh, I don't know about that. You can just look at it and be like, hey, is it helping me physically or is it harming me physically?
Right.
Is it helping me spiritually or is it harming me spiritually? Is it helping me mentally
Absolutely.
and emotionally or harming? Like it's very simple. And that's what I think is like one of the huge benefits too of the group is that we can simplify these things, even though we have these conversations and there's a lot of information, there's a lot of education that goes into it. We have to understand these things from that sort of viewpoint. But at the same time, like, if you're really tapped in, we just make it the lifestyle. We help to provide the support for the lifestyle. And then it's like, after that, what are you thinking about? Nothing. You just know by instinct. Yeah, this is harming me. I'm staying away from it. This is helping me. I'm moving towards it. It's very easy. Very simple. Simple, not easy. I correct myself. Very simple, not easy.
It is simple, not easy. You're right. It's simple. That's the most appropriate term.
Yeah.
It's simple. We complicate it. We do complicate it by overthinking it, all of the what ifs. And then that's not good for your mental state, right? Because then you get anxiety, you're anxious, like, oh, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? Versus I'm gonna go for it. I have enough information to make a decision, right? An informed decision. And then I'm gonna learn a lesson. I don't know if you can see me. The people can see you. They can see you.
Hi. Hi.
He's climbing on me. Not like that other one where he jumped at me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was funny.
Oh my goodness. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
On live. Yeah. Another great conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, y'all. Well, have a great day. See you next week for this conversation. Tomorrow we are doing book club, but we're gonna start talking about
is it your book?
Yes, we're gonna start going through.
Talk about it.
We're gonna start going through my book. So I have an ebook, but the ebook is really the introductory chapter for the whole book. The whole book hasn't released yet, though. The whole book has not released yet, and the ebook is releasing. So what we're gonna do is go through the chapters, and Zip, I'll send you after tomorrow. I will send you the ebook. Okay. You might actually get it later on today if I'm good about it. You might get it as soon as today, right? But we will go through this. Just start taking a deep dive into what it takes to have a total and complete transformation, right? So without saying too much about it, the book essentially outlines what my experience, so my lived experience, but also my own research from other folks as well, on what it takes to really move the needle towards living a happier, healthier, wealthier, more peaceful life, right? What it takes to do that. And so I have 8 steps that come with it. And each step has like some action steps with it, right? So we're going to go into that. So it's 8 steps, but there's levels to everything. And so we're going to be moving through that. And I want to take that. I want to continue to work on this theme for probably the rest of the year. Even when we finish the book, we'll finish the book well before then, but I'll probably continue to move with that theme for the rest of the year, so that we're just getting the information out there. Here's how you improve these things in your life. I think it'd be valuable. So I'm really excited about it. Yeah, really excited about it. So yeah, that'll be tomorrow. So we're going to be on and popping. Okay. All right. And then also we can wrap up the habit book as well. So we'll wrap it up We'll close that chapter, talk about that. What do we get out of it? And then move on to the next one.
Cool. And thank you, Dr. Ness.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. Happy New Year.
Happy
Happy New Year.